Okay. Yesterday we completed these three and created the customer till 6. Okay. After that, we were not able to proceed to update the customer with the accounting details and all, and still this issue is existing. Okay, so we proceed for other things, and I don't know when the things will get changed, because I have already sent an email to the server provider. We'll proceed with the other things and we'll complete the activities related to other part. Okay, so now comes the transaction source. Okay, once you log in, and the next setup part you have to do, uh, till now we have done this setups, profile option setup, a system option setup, then customer profile creation, creation of the customer. Now when you proceed, there is a transaction source. Okay, what is the source of your transaction? Is it coming auto imported, means from a third party system, or it is coming for other module that is also called as imported, that is from order management, or it is manually entered in the system? So right now, as we are doing it manually, so it is manual transaction setup, transaction source. Okay, in the transaction source, already few things will be available. Okay, nothing is available. So we'll say that's manual. Type also manual. In the batch source, we can say manual. Starting date 1st June 2021. Okay, if you want automatic batch numbering, you can very well enable it. If you want automatic transaction numbering, you can very well enable this. Okay, copy document number to transaction number. Okay, if you want the sequence to be generated sequentially, the invoice numbers, because with this automatic transaction numbering, you will see that your invoice numbers will be getting jumped. Okay, and these are the cases allow duplicate transaction number. There are cases when you need a duplicate transaction number entry. For few countries it is possible. That's the reason we have this option available. Copy document number to transaction number means you will have some voucher number generation in sequence. The same will be copied to the transaction number. Okay, if you enable this option, it will work. Then copy transaction information flex field to credit memo. So transaction information flex field means when you have a transaction information and that's on the transaction, you have some DFFs available. That DFF will be copied to credit memo. Generate line level balances. Okay. Now receipt handling for credits. Suppose you have an invoice. Okay, entered an invoice, and when you are going to do collection, you collected that invoice and suddenly you have a new credit memo coming in for that particular invoice. Okay, suppose invoice number 1 was there for our customer for 100 rupees, and you already collected that invoice, and next time when you receive a credit note for that, so you can very well proceed for the refund or on account. You can keep the balance on account or refund. So most of the organization treat this on account, but if it is a one-time customer, you have to do the refund for that credit note. Reference field, this is related to imported transactions, invoice head interface header level thing. Standard transaction type we are not entering. Credit memo pesos we are not entering. Just this information, and we save it. So this is the manual setup done. Other options will get enabled when you are creating a source as imported. Okay. So right now we are not going to create any source as imported because we cannot import from anywhere. So source setup is done. Then next comes the transaction type. Transaction type means what all the different types of transactions you are doing. So let's say in case of our example, it is a software and consulting everything. So it can be a hardware sale, software sale, consulting, and support functions. All this will come into the picture. So you can have a different types of transactions. So let's say IT India consulting. It is consulting credit memo. Okay. Here class. What is the class? Credit memo. Creation sign, negative sign. Transaction status, open. Printing option, do not print now, but in future, that is printing when you do the things for 1st Jan 2020. 1st Jan 2021. Okay. It is a open receivable, posting to GL, natural application will be there. Exclude from late charge calculation. Suppose you have a in interest penalty also getting charged, you can very well include or exclude this type of transactions. Then allow adjustment posting, yes. Allow freight, default tax classification, allow over application. So allow freight means just the freight if you want to charge for that invoice. Default tax classification, if you want to default a tax classification code for this transaction type, mostly not a no. And allow over application. Allow over application means you have 100 rupees invoice and you received 200 rupees as a collection amount. So you can very well do over application to this invoice. So minus 100 will show as a balance for this, plus 100 will show as a balance to this credit note. So sometimes this is to be enabled, sometimes not. Most of the time it is not enabled. Then in account section, you have to add your details of C1, C10, okay. We have consulting 4130. Company. So receivable account we added. This must come here, revenue account, and this must go from here. accounts receivable. And save it. So this now you have created the credit memo type. And now next is you have to create the invoice. Always remember that you first create the credit note and then the invoice, because that will help you to attach both the invoice and credit note type. It will help you in the future transactions. IT India IT India invoicing. Then type as invoice, creation sign positive, transaction status as open, printing option do not print, credit memo type it is asking. So you can very well put IT India consult credit you are attaching. So when an invoice is there and you want to raise a credit note for the same, it is by automatically populating. There are two types of credit note which we will see in the when we do the creation. Okay. And start date and the same explanation for all this. Here the terms is given, payment terms you by default create, application rule set when you are having collection. So how this invoice to be closed. Then you have the receivable account.
For invoice, we can allow freight, right? We have a shipping charges.
Uh, it is not always the case, as we in our case the accounting is for service industry. We will not have freight charges. Definitely.
If it is trade
Yes,
related,
if it is a trade or manufacturing of goods and services, you can very well allow the freight option. When you allow the freight option, freight account is getting enabled. So here you can enter the freight account. In our case, in our example of IT India consulting, we are just doing the consulting services, and that's the reason we don't need the freight account. But you can very well to do the allow freight and add the freight account over here.
okay, sir.
Right now we entered one invoice type, one credit type. Okay, now we need to create a sequence for this. Okay, a sequence means it will generate the voucher numbers. So for that, the setup need to be done. So this is with created two types. One is for invoice and one is for credit note. We have other types also. Likewise, you can create debit note, credit note, chargeback, receivable, bills receivables. Bills receivable mostly is not the case every time. It is very rare scenario when you have the bills receivable coming into the picture. Otherwise, mostly debit note, credit note, and invoices. Deposit comes when it is some business you have to do based on the deposits. Close this one. Transaction type setup we also completed. Now we have to assign the sequence. Change the responsibility to system administrator. On the applications, sequential numbering. Okay. Right now, we have already categories available. If you see, press F11, IT India. See, on the receivable side, IT India Consulting Invoice Credit Note, both the categories are available. So for this both categories, we need to enable the sequence numbering. So first we have to define the sequence for this. Name IT India Consult INV receivable first and 2021. Okay, automatic. Receivable number one. Okay. Now we are going to assign this to our categories. Receivable category IT. It is showing that IT India invoice is there. Ledger IT India. Method is automatic. Start date 1st Jan 2021. IT India invoice. Save. So you have categories coming automatically when you define the transaction type. Then you have to define the sequence and then assign the sequence to the category. Next, now we move to our accounts receivable again. Accounts receivable setups. We were doing the transactions. Okay. In the transactions, we have payment term setup. Okay. When you want to do a payment term setup, you can very well do it. Let's say if it is a just immediate payment. Okay. Let's say 000 300. Okay. Immediate payment. No, allow part discount on parcel payment. You can allow or not. You can do a credit check if a billing cycle is not required. Base amount 100%. Discount basis. How you are going to give the discount on invoice amount, on the line amount, on the line freight items and tax, line and tax, but not freight items and tax. Okay, so it is invoice amount. Installment option. On the installment options, we have two options available: allocate tax and freight. Include tax and freight in first installment. Okay. Suppose we want everything in 100% on the very first payment. It is due means it is due on today. Then it is going to include everything on the first payment schedule. If you want everything in installment, you can very well decide whether you want the tax or freight to be allocated to the schedule, or you can very well include the tax freight in the first installment. So for we select the allocate tax and freight, and as it is a immediate payment, the first sequence relative amount 100%. Okay, you can very well decide if it is 50-50. It is payment schedule means you can very well select the installments here. Due days 0. Okay, so 100% is due days means on this means 0 days, it is 100% due immediately. If you put a date, it is the date of that particular month will be selected as a due day of the month. It is every month last Friday or months ahead, means you can select 1 month more as a suppose you have two say how many months it will go ahead, means suppose you issuing invoice today and you want this to be due in the next month with 1 month ahead schedule, you can very well put over here. So this is one immediate payment term setup is there. On the discount, if you want to give any discount, you can very well enter over here. If it is 1% discount with the 0 days and all the setups, if you don't want, you can just leave it. Now we do one more setup for the installment payment term. Two installments okay, 2 installments. Allow discount on partial payments. 100% discount basis is invoice amount we are going to take. Okay, 1st Jan 2021. Installment options, allocate tax and freight. Okay. Now here sequence is 1. We are going to put 30% due immediately. Okay. And the second sequence 70%. Either you can select any date. Okay. Or 0 days, month, days of the month, and month ahead. So right now I am putting this on 30 days. Okay. On this 30%, I am going to allow discount. Okay. I am going to allow 1% discount on 0 days payment. Okay. On this 30%, I am allowing 0 days 1%. On this 70%, I am not allowing any discount. On this 30% only, I am allowing discount 1% on 0 days. This one. So this Saved. Payment term done, pay transaction type done, sources done. Items, if you are dealing in the inventory items, so very well that can be, we can do. Okay, now we have the memo lines. Memo line is the list when it is a service industry. Most
An item, please show an example, sir.
we cannot do the item setup because we have to go to inventory module setup for that also. Okay. So that's the reason I am skipping that item setup. Item setup we cannot do it right away. We have to complete the inventory module setup, which is supply chain management module, not a financial module. On the memo lines, in the memo lines is to have a list of what we say, list of services you are doing it, or even if you don't want to track inventory module, you can very well set up some items here directly. Suppose you can very well set up items here directly, but it will be very simplest structure of the item setup. Okay, it is not based on the inventory module, and you are not going to track this item as a inventory. So consulting description, consulting, it is a type as line item. Okay, unit of measure, you can select over here what you want as a unit of measure. If nothing, you can just leave it because it is not a mandatory one. Revenue account, you have to keep the revenue account. Sale funds is the 4.30. Okay, then we have the invoicing rule. Okay, how you would like to invoice this in as an advance or arrear, or it is just standard invoice. Accounting rule, you have various accounting rule when you check. This is a contract based, so either invoice you can issue now and get it deferred for 3 months. Let's say you have a contract with some of with your client for deliver a service related to 1 lakh, okay, 1 lakh rupees, and you are going to issue the invoice now, but there will be some unearned revenue will be getting accounted. Means there is a revenue from contracts. Okay, there is a accounting standard or US GAAP, IFRS. There is a revenue from contracts. So revenue from contracts will accrue to you when there is a service is delivered. So in this in the case of service, you have to perform this service 3 months. Let's say in 3 months you have to complete the service, and the value is 1 lakh. So what will happen, it is not going to recognize the 1 lakh invoice as a revenue immediately, but it is going to recognize the revenue only for 1/3 person now, and rest 2/3 person will be as an unearned revenue. That unearned revenue means you have not earned that revenue. So next month when you next month will arrive, suppose you are issuing invoice now for 1 lakh, and out of that 1 lakh, 1/3 portion is recognized as a revenue now. The next month after let's say 22nd of September, it is going to accrue the another revenue portion, that is the one third, another one third portion, 33,333 for your next revenue, and the third month will come as another revenue line. So this is based on the revenue from contract method. So right now we do not have any such case where we are not going into that. So cancel accounting rule. And activate it. Save it. So we have defined the memo lines also. Okay. Approval limits, when you are doing the adjustment activity, we will cover that in differently. Auto invoice, that is when you are importing invoice from any other system or order management module. Accounting rules, as I explained to you, right? There is some accounting rules already defined. 3 months deferred standard, okay? In the fixed schedule, 3 months deferred standard, monthly, 3 periods, deferred revenue, you have deferred revenue or unearned revenue. So fixed schedule, 33.33% of your revenue will accrue like this: first month, second month, third month. So this is the accounting rule setup. We are not using accounting rule. Auto invoice we are not using. Auto accounting, when you have the accounting for your transactions, how you want your accounting to be derived. Okay, so this we have to define for everything. Right now there is a list of, for all these you have to define your auto accounting rule. Auto accounting rule will select the accounting for your transaction, the final transaction when you are going to do it. So right now we have to do a setup for receivable. Okay, so company, it is asking. So company we are going to keep as constant C1. Okay, if you want this location, this segments to capture from any other field, you have 3 different types. Okay, you can either select from transaction types or site, which we have to update on the customer level, or which we cannot do it right now. And sales representative means when you assign a salesman to your customer, you will be assigning a account for them, and from their salesman you can capture the details of your accounting for receivable invoice. Sales representative setup is in the which module it is? CRM module, customer relationship management module. So that module also we are not using. So either transaction type or site we cannot update right now, so mostly transaction type. You can very well select like this. And if you want a constant value, you can very well enter the constant value, but this will not work. Here I put constant value, means this field is not required. Function also, account also, receivable account will be 1210. Constant value I want here. So like this, I am defining my receivable account. Saved it. Now next I have to define it for what is the my component for invoice. A receivable I defined, revenue I have to define. Revenue, I want to take it everything from my memo line, the standard lines. What I have defined memo line as a consulting. I want to track everything from standard lines. So by this, I am defaulting or automating my accounting. Okay, now what I have to define? Okay, auto invoice clearing. Okay, when you have a imported invoice, in that case we are going to use it. Bills receivable, factors bills receivable not required. Freight, if we have some freight account, then freight will come over here. Receivable done, revenue done, tax when we do the tax setup. Unbilled, unearned, unbilled reserve. So nothing else is required. So we defined our two accounting setups right now. Auto accounting also gone. So let's see what is next. Auto accounting for invoice we have completed. Payment terms we have completed. So now we are very good to go the creation of the transactions. Okay. For before creating the transactions, you need to ensure open and close accounting period. Okay. You have to open and close the period of accounting for your module. This is the account receivable module and you have to open it. So month I opened it, and I have to ensure also if my accounting period for general ledger, GL super user IT India, general ledger, your accounting period must be in sync between the sub ledger, that is accounts payable, accounts receivable, and the GL modules. So here also we are going to open the period for ledger, IT India ledger. August period is already opened. Status and control and open period. In the open period, we have two ledgers. August is opened, so not an issue. Our both the periods, ledger periods are open, so we are good to go to create the transactions. AR super user we go. Come to the transactions. Enter the transactions. Sometimes when error will occur, you have to just Google it. You will find some solutions for the error. Someone has done some customizations on this form, and that's the reason we are not able to proceed further. Zero 6502. Okay. Need to run the replicate sheet data. It is telling some data is missing. System administrator request. Submitting request. Replicate sheet data. Operating IT India. After the link, replicate sheet data. Replicate sheet data means by default some data needs to be updated in the database table for this operating unit. Okay, this program usually will be run uh, when you complete all the setup related to responsibilities. Because initially when you there will be implementation, all the responsibilities will be created, just assignment to the users will be done. So and this activity is very well completed when this implementation program starts. So, but right now we are doing each responsibility setup one by one, and that's the reason we are missing this program to be done. Okay. So in the source, you have to select. We have so many available. Click on manual. Start the date. Okay, 21st of August. We are going to raise invoice. In the invoice type, we are going to select the invoice type as this one, and you have the some details here which you can enter for other additional fields which is not required. It's a kind of DFF, additional information for India. No list of value exists. Okay. And the customer rating, customer type, PNR. Okay, somebody has done the global level DFF setup, so it is visible to all the persons who is doing the transactions on this form. So not required. Then our customer name, IT India. Okay. See, Nandanam branch has shipped to OMR Road as built to addresses. We have defined our own payment method 000 B00. Okay, this is our immediate payment. Click OK. Once you enter, this is the header level information. You enter the basic information to whom you are selling the goods or providing the services under the main tab. On the more tab, you will have just the information related to your purchase order or address detail, remit to address. Okay, we forgot to do this setup remit to address. We have to do this one also. Yes, in the setup. Remit to address. Remit to address, why it is required. Suppose when the customer is going to send you the check or payment advice, how he will intimate you. It is the address of the organization which need to be printed. So create the remit to address. Okay. India. This is the address I'm going to use it. Click on apply. Okay, this I created the remit to address. Now I will go by if okay, this remit to address is there for India country, and this one is there. Receipt from, okay, it will ask you to create the postal codes. Okay, from which postal code to which postal code you want to do. Suppose I just give the country India. Rest all I leave it blank because I can provide the services to anyone and I can receive the payments from anyone. And if you want, you can have the other countries added to your list. So India, I added, apply, remit to address done. So now we can proceed for the transactions creation. Manual source. Invoice. IT India invoice. Then the customer number. IT India customer. Here in the mode, you can see remit to address is coming automatically. If you want, you can paste any special instruction, comments. If you want this invoice to be exempted from the late charge, you can very well enable here over here. Any notes you want to add, you can enter the notes over here. We go to the line item. Here you can select the item if you enable the inventory module. Otherwise, in the description, you can just select the memo line which we did the setup. Consulting. Okay. If you have unit of measurement, you can very well select that, or quantity, you can just pick one. 10,000, 10,000. Close this window. Okay. Here some DFFs are enabled on the line. So we completed the transaction, but right now we have not seen the accounting till now. So you have to go to distributions. Under distribution, if you see receivable revenue accounting is completed by themselves. Okay, we have nothing to. Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So as you can see, the accounting is completed automatically because we have done the auto accounting setup, and that setup is mandatory. If you don't do that setup, it will not allow you to proceed any kind of accounting. So you can see here we have the receivable revenue, credit and debit is available over here. Close this window. Click on complete. So your transaction is completed. 10,001 is your transaction number. Likewise, you can go for. Okay, there are two types of credit memo. I am showing you both the types. First, credit memo, standalone credit memo. You select the credit memo, IT consulting credit memo. Customer same IT India customer. Click on line items. Here you select the consulting. Minus 1,000. Okay, negative figure only. On the mode side, you have to complete the TFF. This one, come to the distribution. Accounting also completed by default. Close this window, click on complete. So this happened, the standalone credit note. It is not the credit note which is against the invoice. So standalone credit note, how it is going to reduce the amount of your invoice? You need to go to actions, applications. Okay, actions, applications. In the application screen, you have to select the invoice against which it is going to apply. See, we did the setup of refund also. If it is a credit note is there and we have to either refund it or put on account. So we have selected refund. So that's the reason we have the refund option available. And 100, this invoice against which we are going to apply it. So application is done. Balance is due is 9,000. This is the function standalone credit note. Let me just explain to you now. This is the transaction we created. Okay, 10,001. Okay, see the balance got changed 9,000 after I clicked on refresh. This is the information. The balance detail will show. Original amount 10,000, credits we have 1,000. Any other things we will do, that will also come and reduce this. So this is the invoice that we explained. I explained you over here is the standalone credit note. Now we are going to do a credit to this invoice directly. You come to the invoice, click on actions, credit. Actions, credit, but you must be in the invoice screen. The which invoice you want to do the credit. Actions, credit. When you click the credit, some information will come automatically. See, credit memo type coming automatically over here. Transaction date, GL date also coming automatically. Source is coming as manual automatically. Here the transaction amounts and other. Okay. Credit line by line or credit the balance. If you click on credit the balance, it is going to credit the entire balance of 9,000 here and will create a credit note and will close this invoice also. If you go just by, you give here the line number 1. It is bringing the descriptions automatically 1,000. I just want minus 1,000 again. Okay. It is the line level thing. Control S. Close this one. When I close this one, see here the credit note amount has come and the balance due is now 8,000. But this transaction is still not complete. You have to click on complete button. When you click on complete, this checkbox will get enabled and this is complete. And the transaction number created is 1003. So this is a credit note creation from the invoice. Okay, one is the standalone credit note and one is the credit to a transaction. So on the create transaction window, we are already covered this one. Tomorrow at what time you are free? Hello. Hello.
Sir, tomorrow are not possible, sir.
Not possible. Okay, then only weekends. Yes.
No, weekdays means only tomorrow not possible. Tuesday, Wednesday, okay. But
Okay. Tuesday,
after 11.
Wednesday, after 11 only.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will confirm you the time. Okay, so
Mm.
next,
Oh.
we completed this one. We completed all these setups
Mm.
from 1 to 10 and completed this create transactions. Then we will proceed with the creation of this 11 to 14, and then we go for the collections, then customer's account, customer statement, the receipt write-off, invoice adjustment, customer refund. Okay. After we complete
Okay, sir.
this 11 to 14 setup, then only we can proceed from 2 to 7. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. I have
The
already,
implementation. Mm.
yes, tell me.
Implementation process for a
Hmm.
company, how long it will take?
It takes, it depends on the what kind of implementation it is. Okay, so mostly it takes 6 months to years. Okay, years means
Oh,
you have the very big company and they have to implement the same solution to all over the world wherever they have companies. Okay, so
okay. For a single company in one location means?
single company one location, it takes hardly minimum 6 months, maximum it can be anything.
Till that, the company has to wait.
Yes, because
Work.
but they will be having some another ERP system like Tally or some other accounting system will be running.
Yeah, if for to use the Oracle, they have to wait for at least 6 months.
Yes. They have to wait because first the contract signing will happen, then the scope of work will be designed, then the requirement gathering will be completed, then the gap analysis will be happening, then solution design will happen, testing will happen, user training and user acceptance testing will happen. And if any interface or custom things to be developed, that development will take time. And after all the setups will be done, the testing programs and testing functions will be completed, performance testing will be done. And
All this will be done by financial consultant or
no, not all by financial consultant. Financial consultant will be doing all these setups only and performing the testings. And the technical part, technical team will do. Functional part is to understand the requirement and map it to a solution. Okay. Suppose customer is telling you that they want to send the invoices through email. Okay. To the
mm,
customers, this is one requirement. So for that customer need to give the email address, so email address is there. Now when you printing the invoice, it will go to the email of the customer also, so that programming is technical part.
but we can save in our system and also we can send, right?
Yes, that is also possible, but that is a manual work. But
Mm.
your Oracle system also can send the invoice through email to the customer without any manual intervention. But for that, you need to have the customer email ID.
Okay.
Likewise, the payment terms related will come that you want so and so payment terms. They will want a customer profile class like this: hardware one, software one, consulting one, training and support services another one. So and based on that, there will be a different address for the customers. All this will be a functional part. The functional team has to manage all this requirement and map it to a solution. If it requires a technical solution, then you have to prepare one document that is called business requirement document. In that, you will be explaining the requirement and the user story, and based on that the technical team will prepare the technical specification TSD technical document, and in that technical document you have a mapping of technical items for the functional items. Okay, and based on that the custom development will take place.
Bank payments also will be automatic or
It depends how the customer wants. It can be done automatic or it can be done manually.
Automatic means mostly net banking will have some passwords, OTPs, all
No,
that,
no,
right?
nothing will be required. When the
Oh.
payments to the supplier, when
Hmm.
they will be doing automatic payments they want, then they will prepare one file from their Oracle system. Okay, that file
Hmm.
is the technical document generating from your system, which is the uh, exactly the requirement of the bank. You have to take this requirement from the bank also. Okay, so bank will tell, okay, you want to do automatic payment, and for that we need so and so kind of file from your system. So system will your Oracle system will prepare one file. That file you upload it to bank website, and the bank will impact the payment in your bank account.
Okay, so bank process also involved.
Yes. It is bank processes also involved.
Okay. So the consultant, functional consultant, have to inquire all this regarding the ledger setup.
Yes.
We have to
This setup
gather
related.
information.
Yes. It is the functional team's requirement, and when the functional team is working, it is each module one person will be there with one backup. It is. It may be multiple persons also, because sometimes it is a big rollout project. So one consultant will be taking the requirements, and another 2 3 consultants for each module will be doing the setups and doing the testings.
Okay. If we have the customer has more than 100 customers, 100 suppliers, means it will be imported or
It will be imported. That is a technical team will work, and there is also some tools are available in the market which will help you to upload all these customers into your system.
okay. Right now you're using Fusion or this Artwell, sir, in your
In my company,
office?
Artwell.
Fusion is not used by many people, right?
Fusion, yes, it is not used by, right now. The demand is there to move to the Fusion, but still some companies are there who are still using the 12 version, R12 version. R12, in the R12 version also they are means they are closing the solution which they have used in R12.1.3, and they are using in the 12.2 and more versions, 12.2.1 to 12.2.11.
Okay.
Many versions to the R12. So the R12.1.3 is the older version, and Oracle has stopped the support of this product. And a 12.2 version is available in the market, which many companies are going for it. And Fusion also, it is right now demand is picking up for the Fusion, where there are many companies so who is looking for the Fusion applications, and rolling out of Fusion applications. So yes, demand is there, but it is right now less. In future it will be more.
Have you traveled out of country, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye bye.